Hi, I am Kimberly Gale. I'm the Columbus Regional Director for the Minority Business Assistance Center. So welcome to our webinar on certifications. We are excited to have Bobbi, who is, if you don't know her, she is the queen of certification. And our very own Evelyn, who has also assisted so much of her time and experience throughout so many years of service in the economic development field, and really is the expert around certifications and getting you ready for that. Good morning, Rochelle. So those of you who are new to the Columbus Minority Business Assistance Center, we provide free technical assistance, whether it's business counseling, training initiatives, and certification prep. We are the glue that gets you to additional resources, whether that be trying to get access to capital, if you need additional help with your business plan, or just plain on need someone to be there to be a partner with you to make sure that your business scale and grow. And certification is obviously one of those ways to do that. There are so many opportunities that are available to you once you receive your certification. So we're happy to kind of let you in on the secret of scaling your business and being able to afford the opportunity that's available to you. With certain certification designations, you are eligible for some of the programs that we have for the state. Many people do not know that we have access to the direct loan program and other program, collateral enhancement program, and other programs that can help you fund your business, bonding if you even need it, once you have your certification and you get a contract. So there's a lot of information we're going to give you today. How the format is going to go is that Bobbi is going to share her screen. She's going to provide a detailed presentation on a step-by-step process and getting certified. After her presentation, we'll open it up for questions and concerns, and you feel free to fill those questions on this chat box. That's how you'll be able to communicate with us. And so that we'll have Janine, which will kind of formulate those questions together, and then we'll have time, Bobbi, for question and answer. And Evelyn, feel free, even in the chat box, as people have questions, you could chime in, of course, if you have some questions, if you can answer any questions as well. All right, so Bobbi, I'll let you take it from here. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and your background, how wonderful you are, and
whatever,
and why you're the queen of certifications, and let our audience know what you're about to present to them today.
Okay, so welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. My name is Bobbi Bell-Bartholomew, and I am with the Ohio Department of Administrative Services in the Equal Opportunity Division, and with the Research, Reporting, and Recruitment Unit. We like to say we're R-cubed, because we do monitoring of state agencies spend with certified businesses for the research and reporting, but we also try to recruit businesses into our certification programs. That's where the recruitment comes. I've been with DAS, Department of Administrative Services, actually within our division for 22 years. So it's been a minute.
just a bit.
But, helping business owners and talking with business owners such as yourself is really what I enjoy. The reporting side of it is nice, seeing those businesses grow and seeing states spend with businesses. It is a nice thing that we're able to track, but the interactions that we have with business owners, that's really, at the end of the day, what gets me through the end of the day, because that is really what matters, is helping support you guys. And I would say, imagine for Kim, Evelyn, Sharon, and Janine, it's very much the same. It's that interaction and helping you achieve what you want to do with your business. And part of how you can potentially get there is through certification. So with that nice little segue.
So can you tell me this before we open up the presentation, and then Evelyn, I'll have you chat a little bit about your background as well. But what do you think is the biggest myth that businesses have about the certification process?
The biggest myth about certification process is there's two sides. There's either they're thinking that it's so arduous they're never going to get through it, or you know, it should be a walk in the park, and you know, I should be able to just submit my application and boom, certify me. Neither one's the case.
Okay.
You know, we do have to certify, we have to vet companies and make sure they meet program criteria. We are trying to protect the integrity of the program and certify businesses that truly meet the goals of the program, that are minority owned and controlled or whatever. So, I mean, that's the intent of the program, that those businesses get certified and get access to certain contracts. So there is a level of vetting that we do with businesses, but it's also not so completely painful as long as you do the work on the front end with somebody like Evelyn or whomever, particularly at the MBAC, because they're a free resource for you, and our certifications are free as well. But if you spend the time on the front end, getting your paperwork in order, when you submit it, the application process goes that much quicker, because a more complete packet, it's going to go smoothly, or smoother.
Right. So for those of you who are just logging on, good morning. So we're talking about the certification process, and for those who are not aware, the Columbus MBAC Minority Business Assistance Center offers to help you free, no cost, to gather your documentation, walk you through the certification process, package your information, and we actually submit it on your behalf. So if it does seem cumbersome and looks so overwhelming, just know that we are a resource to do that. We have been fortunate to have Evelyn Cleveland on, who is very experienced in that area. So Evelyn, can you kind of introduce yourself and kind of share what you've been doing over the last few years with MBAC, or many, many years beyond that? So tell a little bit about your background in regards to how you've been able to help package certifications and what that required.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I hope everyone is social distancing and keeping safe and wearing your mask and your gloves. For myself, I've been involved with the process with the state of Ohio probably somewhere in the realm of, I'd say 15 to 20 years. Have had very different experiences in terms of working with minority businesses on the counseling side as well as on the certification side. Have, I think, a very good understanding of the state of Ohio's programs in terms of moving our clients through the process of becoming certified, and then helping them with those additional resources that are available to them once they become certified. Like Bobbi, I would concur with everything that Bobbi has said so far as it relates to the expectation of sometimes how difficult the process can be. And that is why we are here to help them through that process, and that sigh of relief at the end when we actually have gone through the checklist and help them understand about different items that are necessary and why they are necessary. Because in some instances, some of the things that are being asked for, they've never even seen the form. So they may not understand why that particular form is necessary. But as we go through the process, explain the process to them, follow up with an email to say, this is what we discussed and this is what we are expecting to receive. So I think it all comes together at the end. We put the package together, send it off to the state of Ohio, and then we celebrate
We
when they get
celebrate.
that letter that say, hey, you are indeed certified, and yay.
Yeah.
So, and we enjoy what we do. So it's
Right.
always a pleasure. I see that there's some people out there who have actually gone through the process. Nate and I are working together. Gail and I are working together. And there may be some others that I missed. But, you know, it's always a very, very rewarding experience for myself when we finish that process.
Yes, and we appreciate all the work that you've done
Thank you. Thank you.
throughout that process. And so for those of you who don't know, if you have not registered with the Minority Business Assistance to get this free service in terms of helping you for certification print or any other services with us, please log in to cul.org/MBAC/ and to the left is the registration services to sign up with us in order for us to contact you, set an appointment, and kind of meet your individual needs. And we'll put that in the chat box while we get started. So without further ado, Bobbi, go ahead and take it from here. She is going to present to you her presentation. And again, if you have any questions, please, to the right of your chat box, just ask your questions accordingly. All right, let's get started.
All right, let's talk certification 101. All right. So this morning we're going to talk about the certification, the business certification programs that the state of Ohio offers, starting with our veteran-friendly business enterprise, affectionately known as the VBE program. So the veteran program is, as one would suspect, for veterans. And it is designed to be ethnicity and gender neutral. It is in support of veterans. It does apply to all procurement categories. So goods and services, IT services, construction, everything. The interesting component to VBE is that it does not establish, like many government preference programs, it doesn't have a goal or target that agencies are trying to obtain. There's not a certain percentage that agencies are spending towards. Rather, there's an overarching preference on spending with certified VBEs. And that is applied when a certified VBE responds to an invitation to bid or an ITB. They are allowed to quote up to 5% higher than a non-certified business and still be eligible to win that bid. Then on a request for proposal or an RFP, they are provided up to 5% of the available points when that proposal is scored by being certified as a VBE. So again, not there's not a set percentage, it's just an overall preference. And when we send these slides after, the points of contact here are just two people who, in each of these agencies, in DAS and ODOT, who are just very familiar with the VBE program. These two agencies probably spend more with VBE certified businesses than the others do. Not for any particular reason, just the nature of state contracting. Our second certification program is the MBE. And this is probably like our most highest profiled program. Everybody knows about MBE generally. So the Minority Business Enterprise Program does establish a 15% set-aside procurement goal for state agencies, boards, and commissions that they are awarded to certified MBEs. Now, what that means is that's a set-aside procurement. Those bids are solicited to only MBE companies. So you're not competing against the Ohio Healths or Patels of the world. Instead, you're competing against Mary's Market down the street or Bob's Bakery. So somebody who's similarly situated to yourself. The MBE program is an ethnicity-based certification program. So it isn't a race-based program, but it is for goods and services only. Goods and services can include IT services and professional services. We do monitor, as I mentioned, we do monitor state agency spend, and we meet with agencies quarterly just to gauge where they are. They submit to us every fiscal year a projection plan on how they intend to hit that 15% target throughout the year. And so when we're meeting with them quarterly, we kind of say, okay, so you're on track, or maybe we need to adjust. Maybe they had planned a contract to award in second quarter, but that didn't happen. So they're shifting that to third or fourth quarter. So those types of discussions are held with agencies throughout the year. In fiscal year 2019, the state of Ohio spent $259 million in a set-aside fashion with certified MBEs, and then an additional 45 million. I'm sorry, did I say thousand? That was 259 million. And then an additional 45 million on the open market with businesses who happen to be certified MBEs, because we track those dollars as well. So collectively, the state spent $305 million with certified MBEs last year. It's a lot of money. So you can imagine just what a small percentage of that dollar would do to help grow your business. Our third available program is the Encouraging Diversity, Growth, and Equity. And as its name implies, or its acronym implies, the program gives you an edge when competing on state contracts. It does establish an annual goal, which is currently set at 5 for state agencies, boards, and commissions, as well as state universities to contract with EDGE certified businesses. The difference between MBE and EDGE is, first, that EDGE is designed to be ethnicity and gender neutral. It instead is for socially and economically disadvantaged businesses. It's not an either or. A business does have to be both socially and economically disadvantaged. And I'm going to go into what that means here in just a moment. But it also includes more procurement types. So while the percentage is smaller, it's 5% versus 15%, is also including not just goods and services, IT services, professional services. It also includes construction, architecture, and engineering. And by including those capital dollars, that's a significant portion of state budget. So last year, we ended up at about 7%, but that amounted to $386 million spent with EDGE certified businesses. And we do monitor it much the same way as we do MBE. Another difference between the EDGE program is that because it is for socially and economically disadvantaged businesses, there's the opportunity that a business might grow beyond that economic component. That can be because of an individual's personal net worth, that they themselves grow beyond what the threshold is, or if the business size standard grows to the point that it's no longer determined to be small by the Small Business Administration standards. So, and that's actually, it would be a good problem to have if you then reach the point that you've grown so large that you're no longer considered a small business. So you don't really need the EDGE program at that point, so you would graduate out of it. And though technically still on my slide, the 10-year time limit, some of you may have heard about, you can only be an EDGE for 10 years. that is only still on my slide because we have not yet finished the rule review process. We just submitted amendments to the Ohio Administrative Code, which would strike that line in the code that would then allow businesses to remain in the program beyond 10 years, so long as they met the rest of the program guidelines. But technically it's still there, but we're in the interim allowing businesses to remain in the program. Okay, and here we go, our new program, and we're so excited. For the ladies online, the state of Ohio has a new women-owned business program, WBE. We're not quite able to certify yet, but it's coming very soon. With that rule package that I was just mentioning about EDGE, we also included Ohio Administrative Code for certifying women-owned businesses. And the state of Ohio has never had a program specific to WBEs before. We've been able to certify women businesses as part of EDGE. It was one of the social criteria, but they also had to meet that economic component. With the WBE program, that is no longer going to be the case. Women can get certified just by owning and controlling their business. Like the VBE, there's not a goal assigned to the WBE program currently. As it was written, there's not a preference, there's not a target or percentage that state agencies are supposed to hit towards. Now, what it does include, which is kind of cool, is the opportunity for our agency to enter into reciprocal certification agreements with other states who have similar programs. So what that would mean is, for example, Indiana or Pennsylvania or, I don't know, Wisconsin. But say there's a WBE set aside happening in Indiana that you wanted to compete on, but Indiana's program says you have to be home state certified in order to compete. You're Ohio certified, you can take our certification, go to Indiana, apply with them, give them a copy of our certificate, and they will certify you and you can compete on that contract. So we've never had the opportunity to do that for women businesses before, so that's exciting for us to be able to do. So we're not quite ready to certify yet, but like I said, we're working through the rule process and we hope to be able to do that very soon. And we will be shouting from the rooftops when that happens. Everybody at the MBAC will be blowing up emails to let everybody know that that is available. So look for more information for that soon. So the biggest question we get about certification is, what's in it for me? Well, obviously, you know, I've been talking about dollars. And to be straight, Bobbi is not saying you will get a contract. What I'm saying is that there's an opportunity there. Getting certified puts you in an opportunity to compete in certain segments of state contracting. Specifically for the MBE, you know, only certified MBEs can compete in those sheltered markets. So, so that's one reason. Additionally, we list certified businesses in our searchable database that not just state agencies, but other private organizations and universities, prime contractors, etc., use in order to identify certified businesses to hire, to contract, to subcontract with. As Ken mentioned earlier, there's specific funding available, funding resources available tied to certification through our partners at the Ohio Development Services Agency. There's specific bond, loan, collateral enhancement programs that, you know, if you are MBE certified, you become eligible for those loan programs or those bond programs. You can use the certification to market yourself. It's not just state agencies that are trying to spend with minority businesses. Private corporations and other businesses have just learned that doing businesses with a broad supplier base is really just good business. It makes good business sense. So a lot of organizations like Ohio Health, Battelle, Nationwide, they all have a very strong supplier diversity program. So being certified by the state, you can use that to market your business. And then also I encourage people to consider our certification list, not just as, you know, within your industry, it's a list of competition, but also it is a list of potential teaming partners, joint ventures. You know, maybe there's a contract that you see that you can handle like maybe 50 or 60% of it, but maybe you need somebody over in this area that's not really your niche, that's not what you do, but you know, maybe if I found another certified business, maybe they can handle that, and then collectively we can go after that larger contract. So think of it as joint venturing or teaming partners. And then also potential customers. So what is it that my business does that another certified business has a need for? So just different ways to look at the certification list. So we're going to talk about program criteria. How do I know if I'm eligible? I'm going to tackle VBE first because it's shorter. Obviously, veterans, if you yourself own 51% of the business, or if you're a veteran or on active service, that is the program for you. If 51% of your board of directors are veterans or on active service, if you've already gone through the practice of getting certified by the feds, then we can take that certification and give you the state certification as well. And this fourth one is one that I really personally like, and that is if at least 10% of a business's employees are veterans or on active service. The reason that this one resonates, for me anyway, is that the program helps veteran business owners, but in this way, it also helps veterans, period. It helps veterans who need jobs. So as a business owner, if you are either growing your business to the point where you're ready to start bringing on a workforce, or maybe that's where your business plan has you in 5 years, consider the fact that if you hire veterans and if 10% of your workforce is then going to be veterans or on active service, you could get VBE certified and gain the benefit of being VBE certified. Gets you the benefit of certification and gives them employment. So it is a win-win and supports veterans. Okay, MBE and EDGE, and this will be the same for WBE once we iron that, get that in place. Full-time Ohio resident. You also have to be a for-profit and in business for 1 year. I do love the work of nonprofits. Our statute just doesn't allow us to certify them. So you also do have to be in business for 1 year. You have to have the requisite knowledge of the business and industry. Does it make sense that you can have the day-to-day control over the business? And if it follows possessions of the license, that it's required to run the business. Day-to-day control is key. And we look closely at each business who applies to determine if the person who applies for MBE and EDGE and soon for WBE actually controls that business. MBE specifically, as I said, it is an ethnicity-based certification program. So you do have to be either African American, American Indian, Asian, or Latino. Full stop. You are not one of those four, you will not meet you will not be certified. Edge, socially and economically disadvantaged. So for social, that can be because of ethnicity or race, can be because of gender, because you are physically or mentally disabled. If you are in a long-term residence in an environment isolated from the mainstream of American society. And roughly translated, that means hub zone. So, and that's the Small Business Administration, or SBA's designated hub zones, which are areas that they have identified as low income, high unemployment. So like all of Appalachia, there's parts and areas within Columbus, Cleveland, major metropolitan areas that are designated as hub zones. There is a link on our website that takes you to the SBA's map where you can just plug in your address and it'll tell you whether you're in a hub zone or not. The key to whether or not you apply based on that is you also need to realize that 35% of your employees have to also reside in a hub zone. Not necessarily the same hub zone, but a hub zone. And what that means though is if it's just yourself, you're fine, you know, because if you're applying based on residence in a hub zone and you're in there, you've met 100% of your employees are there. But if your other employees, you're tracking them, you need to be aware that every 2 years when we do recertification, we're going to need to verify that they've not moved out of a hub zone or something like that. Economic disadvantage, as I said, it's social and economically disadvantaged. So you have to have a personal net worth going into the program of less than $250,000 at the time of application. We do exclude your primary residence and any interest that you have in the business. Because most people, like maybe they own the front door, if they're lucky, they maybe own the garage door, but the bank owns everything else. So we've just kind of set that aside. Fair market value of all of your assets should be less than $4 million. Once you're in the program though, because it is meant to be a development program, you know, you're allowed to have a personal net worth of up to $750,000. Beyond that, that's when I said earlier that you would graduate from the program. So if you exceed that 750 once you're in, that's when you graduate out. And there is a website, or there's a link on our website for a personal net worth form that calculates that for you, so you know when you fill it out whether or not you fall within that threshold. So, application. There is a list of documents, kind of substantial. We're going to talk about that. It's okay. The MBAC is there to help you. And all of the documents really do go to proving the requirements of the program. Are you a citizen? Are you a resident? Are you, are you one of these core groups? And then, do you control the business? Have you been in business for a year? So the process in a Buckeye nutshell is that we look at the online application that we get and match it to the supporting documents that we get. And generally, I would suggest people don't start with the online app, but instead start with the supporting documentation checklist. First of all, that's going to take longer to gather those documents, but also because we do match to see if what we get online corresponds to what we got in the documents. If you use your documents to submit your application, it's going to match. So we look at that. Then in normal times, everybody would get an on-site interview. In our not so normal times right now, everybody is getting a phone or Skype interview. Additional documentation may be requested. The officer does an analysis, either recommending for certification or for disapproval, because you don't meet program criteria. So if you are recommended for approval, that gets reviewed by the state EO coordinator. He agrees. Bam, you get an email saying, yay, congratulations, click here to get your certificate. Everybody's happy. If not, you get a letter saying, it's our intent to deny your request for certification, and here's why. We're going to detail out why we don't feel that you meet the program criteria. We're also going to tell you how you can appeal that decision, because there is an appeal process that you can, it goes to a hearing officer. So there's a hearing that would be scheduled, and you would present why you would disagree with those findings. So that is sort of the standard process. And the application is completed on the Ohio Business Gateway, which, love it or hate it, it's what we have. The Gateway application itself is not terribly difficult. There's a couple sticking points, but the application's not difficult so much as the security on the front end. But we are there to help you through that. The MBAC is there to help you through that. And also the MBAC can help you, as we've said, compile those documents on the front end. But that entire process, on average, takes 60 to 90 days. We have 5 officers covering the entire state, so it does take a minute. We also have what we call the fast track certification process. However, we only do this in 2 instances. And that is if an applicant is submitting a bid or a proposal where they have to be certified in order to be responsive. So if you're submitting a bid on an MBE set aside, you obviously have to be certified in order to be counted in that bid response. Or for EDGE, you're submitting a bid proposal for this EDGE subcontracting opportunity. You have to be EDGE certified for that. In those instances, you can work with the MBAC. Also, if you've got a pending loan or bond application with Minority Business Development Division, again, where certification's a requirement, you'll work through the MBAC, they'll submit it to us on your behalf, and they'll submit it as a fast track. The process remains the same, but we've got one officer who works those files. And when those come in, he pretty much stops every other application he's working on and focuses just on those applications. In those instances, we can shorten the timeline down to 3 to 5 days. But we do have to do this only in those isolated instances, though, because otherwise everybody who applied would be raising their hand saying, I want it fast tracked. And that's just not work-wise, it's just not feasible for us to be able to do that. We also have the Expedited Certification Process, or the cross-certification process. And if any of you are already certified by the City of Columbus in their MBE program, we have a reciprocity agreement with them where you can apply with us using our cross-certification form on the Gateway. Give us a copy of your current form or your current certificate. We'll reach out to the city. They'll give us a letter of good faith. We'll issue a state certification based on that recommendation. And you're good to go. We'll certify you through the duration of your city certification. So the dates would match. So like if your city certification is expiring next month, you might want to renew that first so that it's longer than like a month or two. But you know, we have it with a lot of municipalities, also with the Ohio Minority Supplier Development Council. That's a common one that we get. It also works both ways except for OMSDC. So if you go ahead and get your state certification and you're wanting to respond on a city bid that for whatever reason they want City of Columbus certification, you can apply with the city, give them a copy of our certificate. They'll reach out to us, we'll give them a letter of good standing, boom, they'll certify you in their program. Where are we on time? So in the interest of time, and knowing that we're going to go ahead and give you these slides, the rest of these slides are ways to identify procurement opportunities and how to use the agency projection plans. So Kim, if you're okay, I think we can just send them to those. They can send us questions if they have, and then we can answer Q&A.
That'll be great. In fact, we have a few questions, and so we'll just entertain questions at this time. And what we'll do, Bobbi, is we'll continue the conversation about projection plans and how you search for opportunities and what to do from there. So this is one of many other webinars we're going to continue to do in our Certification Academy in terms of not only certifications for purchasing and things of that nature. So we just need everyone to be patient as that. One of the questions was, can I be MBE and EDGE certified at the same time?
Absolutely. Actually, you can be MBE, EDGE, VBE, and as soon as we're able, WBE certified. You can hit them all. And all of our certifications are free.
Okay, one of the questions, what kind of opportunities can a trucking company benefit from the MBE or EDGE, or have you seen trucking companies benefit from the program?
I would say trucking companies are probably going to be a better benefit for EDGE certification on the state procurement level. But from the city perspective, MBE, and the city takes, for the most part, our state MBE certification. So I would encourage you to get both, but market your MBE certification to the city and your EDGE certification to the state.
And for those who are wondering if we assist you with the city certification, the answer is absolutely. So if you have interest of working and doing business with the city of Columbus, please let us know. Again, we can get you assistance on that end as well. Cleaning services opportunities.
There are cleaning service. There's also, so there's existing contracts already in place that, you know, may be for 5 years. So those individual cleaning opportunities might be staggered or might be at regional locations, but there are cleaning opportunities, yes.
One question is, hey, you know, maybe I work full-time for someone, but yet I have a side hustle on the side. I've been in business for over a year. Do I still qualify for some of the programs?
Side hustles count. The thing to be able to, the thing that you have to be able to do is to show how you're running your business on those off hours. So, you know, if it's a business that you can manage in the evening, it doesn't require you to be on site during the day that conflicts with your day job. It's much easier.
Okay.
But you have to be able to show how you've been running that business during that year. Okay.
What about professional services? One particular one was hair salons. Would they even benefit? But also, what about the professional services process? Can they benefit from either of these programs?
Professional services, yes. Here, I immediately think services to the 24-hour facilities, not just DRC, but also like youth services, mental health and addiction services, those 24-hour care facilities, right?
Okay.
Also, professional services in the health field. We desperately need certified businesses in those areas.
Okay. Here's one. Do I have to obtain a DUNS number in order to qualify for the program?
Nope.
No. Answer your question, Kenya. Janine, do you have any others I missed, perhaps?
Muhammad's question about the
I'm trying to get one eye on the chat box and one eye on you. It's been kind of
yeah. Muhammad had a question about the gateway access, and it doesn't have the MBE and EDGE application. So that's like a technical thing, and it's tricky. So you have to be a filing administrator, and you have to add the equal opportunity division service area. Then there's transaction types that you need to add, and that is called, you need the unified application, and then you need the permissions to that to be able to submit it. But you know, the MBAC's available to help you. Our office can help you. I'll put in our main number. Anybody on our staff can help you add those. If you're a filing administrator, really it takes us like 2-3 minutes to talk you through where to click on the 83. What is our number? 4668380.
So while you're doing that, Evelyn, what do you see are some common mistakes in terms of documents or what people don't quite understand in terms of gathering their documentation? What do you see are some of the common mistakes?
Well, I think some of the common mistakes have to do with taxes and all of the different types of taxes that are required, and understanding exactly what you have to submit as in terms of taxes. Also, when you're an LLC, there is a unit certificate that has to be submitted, as well as a unit journal, and most individuals don't understand why they submit those documents, or even that those documents pertain to an LLC. So I think just having an understanding of the process and working with us to help them put that package together just makes it so much simpler, because once we identify what all these different items are and why they're needed, we cut down on the need for the requirement for additional documentation. So just having that extra hands and eyes looking over all their documentation. A lot of times when it comes to the actual application itself, getting online, understanding where to go once they get online, as Bobbi just suggested, when you're looking for how to get to the application, it's not always clear what you're looking for, because you do have to look for the equal opportunity division. And you know, just understanding what the difference between the certifications are, the MBE, the EDGE, the VBE, all those things come into play.
One of the other questions, Bobbi, was what about TV, radio, print, digital, those types of businesses? Does those certification apply to maybe some of those services? And how do you kind of qualify those kind of businesses?
Yes. We do have some newspapers, some advertising, some print media who are MBE certified. There are some marketing and promotional opportunities. I would say it's not going to be huge dollar amounts, but there are some marketing material opportunities for state agencies there. Yeah. But again, it's like if you use the certification, not just for state business, but also to market yourself beyond that. For a lot of businesses, state procurement might not be your bread and butter, right?
Okay.
It's not going to feed your family every week. But, and I'm not trying to set up false expectations that it should, but I'm just trying to be real as well. But there are opportunities there for it.
Okay. One of the questions is, how do I get assistance in terms of MBAC? What I would have you all do, if you want the MBAC Center to assist you with the certification process, email us at mbac@cul.org. mbac@cul.org. Janine, can you put that in the chat box? If you have other additional questions, unfortunately, we probably won't be able to answer all your questions. However, we get a listing of all the additional questions on this chat, and we do have it recorded and we get those questions. So if we didn't get into your question before, we will contact you individually to answer your question. In addition, Bobbi has a package that she gave to us to give to you all. So we'll give you a copy of the PowerPoint presentation along with some additional documents, Bobbi, that we can send to you. There's any other last comments or concerns that we need to cover? Bobbi, give you some last few words, or let's see. Yeah, so people are sending those steps. Kiana, as far as steps in terms of how to do this, again, what we can do is once you see the information, we can set up a time, get you the checklist, and we want to start there. So the biggest thing is getting all of your paperwork and your documentation together before you apply.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
so again, like Evelyn said, having that extra set of eyes, looking over and making sure you have that information. You have to gather all that information. One of the things that I've always told people, and we're seeing it even what's going on with COVID-19, is paperwork, having your financials together, having your tax documents together, having that information and being organized into one place. And hey, we're at home, so there's a perfect opportunity to get all your business documents together. And an opportunity, what we've seen, Evelyn, is people saying, hey, now that I'm home, I have the time. So now I can finally get my business certified, I can stop, I have opportunity to get my paperwork together. So that's been wonderful to see that people are taking this time and this opportunity to do that. And so,
yeah,
one last question is, when we become MBE Edge certified, can we automatically become WBE certified, or do we need to reapply?
that is our plan. So once we are actually able to certify WBEs, those MBE Edge companies that meet the requirements of WBE, I'm gonna say grandmother in instead of grandfather in. We're going to grandfather those in and certify them as WBEs, so that we have a ready pool available.
Okay, sounds wonderful. Okay.
And another, I would caution you, there's things on the checklist that you're going to look and say, I don't have that, I don't have that, I don't have that. There are things that you can say does not apply to your industry, right? Like a lockbox, something like that might not apply to your industry. But if there's something that applies to your business structure or running a business, like specific tax forms or profits and loss statements, those types of things, now is the time to go ahead and create them so that you do have them, get your paperwork in order.
Okay, great. And then I think there's an area where you'll have to, and I know I've seen Evelyn do it, where they put in, it doesn't apply to my business. I have to provide a brief description of why that doesn't apply. That's important. We just can't leave something blank. We have to answer all those questions and concerns.
Kim,
So
can I just jump in here real quick?
Sure. Absolutely.
So in the checklist, what we do at the MBAC is we review the checklist for everyone who comes through our office. And after we review the checklist, we send an email. And in that email, we identify those items that we're looking for, and we also identify those things that are non-applicable so that they understand which items they are to submit and which items they have to write a statement for. And we help them with putting that statement together so that they won't be missing anything. And then when we send in the package, we have everything that we need. So that's a part of what we do. That's those extra eyes that are looking at the process to ensure that everything they need. So the more complete the application is, the more complete the documents are. When we send it in the very first time, the less likely the state will come back and have to ask for additional items. And then we are trying to make sure that the package is complete when we send it the first time.
And what I say last week, Kim, the MBAC has your back.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
our
The
little
new slogan.
Your back got your back. That's right.
Yeah.
So again, thank you, Bobbi, for the information. We're going to be using you a lot now that we've kind of, the new normal is the remote process. And so we appreciate the work that you've done, as well as Evelyn, in terms of getting this done. And again, we are here to help you through this process. And if you have any direct questions, go ahead and email mbac@cul.org. And again, we'll send you this information. We'll give everybody time in the group, and we can gather those documents and the emails from this webinar, and we will send you additional information. Thank you all for participating. Again, it's okay. If there's questions that we did not get, we will kind of go through some of those questions and try to get back with you in terms of answering those questions for you. Again, thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. Now you can, get off and get your pajamas on or whatever. I haven't even eaten breakfast yet, so I guess I can try to go eat lunch now. So thank you all again. We appreciate you all, Bobbi and Evelyn, and everyone that kind of made this webinar a success. And again, we're here for you, and have a great rest of your day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.